Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Teach Me Now. Our today's lesson is based on Euclidean geometry, grade 8. So today, guys, we're catering for grade 8, right? So without waste of time, let's get down to business. So, if I consider these three questions, I can tell that there's parallel lines, right? So as soon as I see parallel lines, I think of a fun method. Which is our F. We have our U, and we have our N, right? Here, our parallel line. So let's say now this is our A, B, C, as well as D. Our A again, B, C, and our D. A, B, C, as well as our D, right? And then we have angle there, as well as another angle. Let's call this angle our A, call our angle B, angle A, angle B, angle A, angle B, right? So angle A is equals to angle B, right? The reason corresponding angles, because AB is parallel to CD, right? The reason we're having that conclusion is the fact that we have the F alphabet. So F for corresponding. Now let's move. This is the first one. We have the second one and the third one. So on the second one, we have the co-interior, right? So meaning the interior angles are supplementary. Interior angles are supplementary. So the co-interior angles are what? Are supplementary. So the reason we say co-interior angles, because AB is parallel to DC. That's good. So now let's go to our third one for N. A, angle A is equals to angle B. The reason, alternating angles, because AB is parallel to CD, right? And then we're not done. Remember now we actually dealing with straight lines here, right? We're dealing with straight lines. So we need to actually consider everything based on straight line. So now, we have our X alphabet as well. Let's say we have A and B, right? Now we can conclude to say, okay, A is equals to our B, and the reason vertically opposite angles equal. Vertically opposite angles are equal, right? And then the last one, we have a straight line. So this one has to do with angles on straight line. So these are what? Angles on a straight line. So now, by having this information, I think now we can answer our question. Let's go to question 1. Guys, be patient with me because now I need to explain everything thoroughly, because now remember, now we actually dealing with grade 8 here. So I need to explain everything thoroughly, step by step, actually. But this can be of help to grade 9 as well as grade 10. So now let's continue, guys. On question 1, they gave us parallel lines, which is A, B, and then C, D. And then they gave us an angle of 108 as well as an angle of X. Here's our angle X there, and then angle Y, right? So now, before you even answer the question, you need to ask yourself one simple question. Which alphabet do I have relative to my parallel lines, as well as the unknown angle? Now let's go back to our question. These are parallel lines. These are parallel signs, right? And then we have our first as well as the second parallel line, right? So that's good. So now, what kind of an alphabet are we having there? Here's our alphabet that we are having actually. Is our what? Our F shape, right? So when we see the F shape, we go back to that, right? Meaning now, we said A is equals to B, right? We can conclude and say X is equals to 108 as well. And then the reason, corresponding angles. Because AB is parallel to CD. We're done with finding X. Now we need to find Y. Now, if you can check, before you find Y, I want to show you something, guys, quickly. How to go about breaking down the question so that it can be simpler for you. So now, remember now we have what? 108 there. But these are what? Angles on a straight line. So now we can conclude based on that. So we can say y plus 108 degrees. 108 is equals to 180 degrees. The reason, angles on a straight line. Angles on a straight line. Right? And then we need to now transpose our 108, right? So 108, sorry, I made a mistake there. So we need to transpose 108. When we transpose 108, we end up with 180 degrees minus 108, right? And then we get our value as 72. We're done with number 1. Now let's go to number 2. How do you find angles on number 2? We need to find X and Y, right? So what kind of an alphabet do we have relative to our unknown X, right? Here's our unknown X. What kind of alphabet are we having? We have our X alphabet, right? So meaning, if we have our X alphabet, we need to come back to that. So meaning we apply the vertical opposite story, right? That's good. So meaning now, X is equals to 88 degrees. And the reason, vertically opposite angles equal, right? That's good. So we're done finding our x, which means our x is what? 88. Now we need to find our y. How do we find our y? What kind of an alphabet do we have actually relative to our unknown y? So we have our F alphabet there, right? Which makes x to be equals to y. So we can conclude and say our y is equals to x, which is equals to 88, right? And the reason corresponding angles. Okay? Because EF is parallel to GH, right? Now we're done. Now let's move to our next question. Again, here we have 100, y, and z, even x. So how do we even find y and z? So which alphabet do we have relative to our parallel lines and unknown y? We have our F, right? Which makes our y to be 100, right? So we need to say, okay, cool. Our y is equals to 100. The reason, corresponding angles. Because I, J is parallel to K, L. I hope you all are following, guys, how I go about breaking down the question for you. I keep on finding the alphabets so that I can get down to the unknown, basically. So it's about finding the alphabets, and the alphabet will give you some information, right? So now our y is what? Is 100. So we have 100 there. Now, let's continue, guys. So that 100 as well as z, they give us angles on a straight line, right? So now we can conclude angles on a straight line. Here's that sign there, right? So angles on a straight line, they are supplementary. They add up to 180. So we have 100 degrees plus z equals to 180 degrees. The reason, angles on straight line. Angles on a straight line. Right? And then as from there, since we're looking for z, we need to isolate z by transposing that 100. So now we have 180 degrees minus 100. So as soon as you transpose, the sign changes from positive to negative, or from a negative to positive. So our z is 8, right? That's good. So now, what kind of an alphabet, or which alphabet do we have actually relative to that unknown x, as well as the angle 51? If I check correctly, we have what? Our C there. We have our C. So since we have our C, we need to consider the co-interior story. So now, we need to say x plus 51 degrees is equals to 180 degrees, right? The reason, co-interior interior angles, because IG is parallel, IG is parallel, IG is parallel to KL. Don't forget that, that's important. So as from there now, guys, remember we're solving for X, so we need to transpose that 51. So we have 180. When we transpose 51, the sign changes from positive to negative. Then now we have 180 minus 51, and we get 129 is our final answer. 129. Guys, we've come to the end of our session. I hope you all understand everything actually. Your tutor from Teach Me Now signing out.